It's here! Yay! How do you open? Hello everybody, good afternoon, hope that you are well. As you can see, I'm extremely excited because I have just ordered a brand new iPad Pro. This is the 2020 12.9 inch iPad Pro, so the newest version and the biggest size, and I actually got 1 terabyte of internal storage as well, which may sound a bit excessive, but basically I plan on doing everything on this iPad, including editing, and I heard that you can't edit directly off an external hard drive like what I normally would on my laptop, which means that I need to have a lot of internal storage on here in order to transfer all of my files and do the whole edit on the system. So, oh, swipe up to open. Okay. It's so big, it's so fun. And I have my name engraved on it as well. No, you probably can't see that. I can't tell you how excited I've been for this to arrive. Literally, I ordered it a couple of weeks ago and all day I knew it was coming today, and I was just waiting in my hallway like a little puppy dog waiting for it to arrive. I've bought pretty much all the accessories for it already, which I'll go into in a little bit. Okay, set up Face ID. So this is just the final step really, is receiving the iPad and setting it up. Position your face within the frame. Move your head slowly to complete the circle. I've never had anything this big that's touchscreen. Makes me feel like I'm in McDonald's or something when you're ordering your food. Woohoo! Yo! So like I said, I already have some accessories for this in this thing right here. So first of all, starting with this, which is like a hard shell portfolio case, which I got from Amazon, but the brand is Tomtok. I'll link it in the description. And I got this because I plan on having this iPad to be like my ultimate laptop, essentially. This is going to be coming with me traveling, coming with me everywhere. And I know as a traveler, like my stuff gets knocked about a lot, and my MacBook Pro, which has always come with me, is pretty hardcore and like it can take a bash, whereas this is a lot more delicate than my MacBook Pro. So I just wanted something which I could keep the iPad in, which is, I know, is just going to be a lot more protected, which is why I went for this, which is quite bulky, but I do think it's going to be worth it. So it has a space where I can put the Magic Keyboard when that arrives, so that's arriving in a couple of weeks. And then here is where I can put things like the charger. This is the adapter that I bought, which is, it's called a Basius, and I chose it because it has a USB, it has HDMI, SD, micro SD, USB-C, and an audio jack. And I just thought all of that is perfect, and it hooks onto, as far as I'm aware, the side of the iPad, like so. And then you just plug it in like that, which is really, really nifty and nice. So I'll use that more a little bit later, but that's good to know that it fits. I obviously bought the Apple Pencil, and I bought this silicone casing to go around it just to protect it. I mean, the Apple Pencil is kind of the main reason why I got the iPad, so that I could do illustrations and stuff. Where is the lock screen gone? God, you can tell I haven't had an Apple product in a really long time. Okay, so does this work? Do I have to charge it first? No? I've heard that it's magnetic somewhere. Is it not magnetic? Oh my god, that's so disappointing. Is it not magnetic? Or is it that I have to take it off, the silicone casing off? Where does it... Ah! It is magnetic! magnetizes too. And then does it show me that it's charging? Because, oh, Face ID. Oh, yes! Oh, welcome to Apple Pencil. Oh, this is so satisfying. Okay, so do I know how much it's charged? How do I figure that out? And is it gonna work now? Yes! Anyway, back to what I was saying. Oh, the excitement levels here are just going through the roof. Using the Apple Pencil is basically the main reason why I got this iPad, is so I could do illustrations and kind of utilising that feature. And then, beautiful. Oh, here we go. It just said at the top that my Apple Pencil was on 71%, so that's pretty good for now. Anyway, this Apple Pencil, when it's not living next to my iPad, it will be living in this case to keep it safe. But going back to this case, it has another layer. Onions have layers. This is where I will be keeping the actual iPad, and what I've got in here right now is just like a normal case for it so that I can stand it up. So let's give this one a go. I got this off Amazon, not off the Apple website. So I believe I should just be able to, is that the right way around? Slot it in there, like so. There we go, so it's in there and the Apple Pencil is still able to magnetize on, and then that just flips on like that. So you can get it to stand up like that. That's quite nice. The other way is it just like that? Is it like that? I think that's the other way. It's basically like the drawing setting where it's just like a low angle. That seems about right. And then this just slots nicely into here, and that's just what's really going to keep my iPad fully protected. Hello everybody, it's a few weeks later. I'm still not ready to show you the apps on my iPad just yet, but I have a new package which I believe is my magic keyboard, so I'm going to do a little unboxing. Dun, 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 dun. Just like that. Oh, I love opening Apple products. It's just so satisfying. Oh, and that feels professional. That is quite heavy. This is my iPad. It's not much lighter than the actual iPad itself, interestingly. Ah, okay, okay. Oh, there's a click. Oh, so exciting. What's that? Oh, that's just rubbish. Right. Does it open up any more than that, or is that it? I don't want to force it, but that is it. Okay, and then it's a sturdy piece of equipment, I'll tell you that. Right, and then I guess the moment of truth is putting the iPad on it. Ready? Ready, ready, ready? That wasn't quite as satisfying as I was hoping. Maybe it's because it needs to be more like this in order to be satisfying. I mean, I feel like people in other YouTube videos made that look more satisfying than what I feel like it is in real life. Does it connect automatically? Like if I go into... Yes, the cursor is working. Hello, my name is Christianne. Very easy typing experience. And this is me typing for the first time in GoodNotes. Lovely. Sorry, I should have screen recorded this so you could actually see what I'm doing. So the main reason I got the Magic Keyboard is for editing and using LumaFusion and just having a much better experience with that. Wait, where does this sit? Oh, that's nice. The Apple Pencil just sits on the top like that. Yeah, it's for editing and also writing my ebook. I'm going to talk more about this in a little bit, but like my iPad has pretty much been replacing everything that I've been doing apart from editing so far, and I love using it. And I'm hoping that with this Magic Keyboard now, it means I can transfer everything onto here into like a mobile setup. Now let's take this pencil off and see what it's like to close this with the Magic Keyboard on. Okay. it's not very smooth and, what's the word I'm looking for? Elegant? It's not very subtle. It's like it's not light either, but like I do feel like that's a solid piece of equipment, which is really, really nice. And you do have the charge through passing there, which I also really like. So if I'm working and I've got my adapter plugged in because I'm working with like my SD cards and things like this, I can still charge the iPad at the same time, which is something that I know I'm definitely gonna be using. Let's do a little weight test between this and here is my 2014 MacBook Pro, which has obviously been my laptop for the past 6 years. And this is what I'm using to... I feel like they're the same weight. Are they exactly the same weight? I should probably do an actual weight test. I can't actually tell the difference. I feel like they may be exactly the same weight, or if not very, very similar. And then as a size comparison, 2014 MacBook Pro, 2020 iPad Pro with Magic Keyboard. Here's a little bit smaller. What about this way? Just ever so slightly smaller, but of course you can use much more of the screen size on this as opposed to the MacBook Pro, where you obviously have like quite a few like dead edges. And then when you open this, which is it's not as easy to open, the edges are much, much skinnier, so you do get to use a lot more of the screen. So the screen size is almost the same. That sounded really Australian. The same. I really like the angle. I do like the angle of this Magic Keyboard though. It's going to take some getting used to. I'm going to use it over the next few days, few weeks, and we're going to regroup again. We're going to go over everything and the apps that I have been using. I'm so excited to show you. Okay, and welcome to a couple of months later, and here is my iPad. It's Saturday the 25th of July. I think I'm going to be posting this tomorrow, and dun, da, 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 this is what my iPad looks like. This is generally the screen that I like to have as my home screen because you can either have it like this where it's kind of just the apps, or you can bring in the widgets on the side. And I really like having the widgets on the side because it shows me what I've got coming up next in my calendar. I've got the news on here. You can customize this to put whatever you want on there. There's the weather. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I scroll down here every day. I'm mostly just looking at what I've got up next that day and like the top stories in the news just to keep me informed. So I guess it makes sense to start with this bar at the bottom, which is pretty self-explanatory. On the left-hand side, we have the apps, which like I've decided that I want at the bottom because they're my most used. And then the 3 on the right-hand side changes all the time. It's just whatever my 3 most recently used apps are. So obviously I've got the App Store and settings. I don't feel like I need to click onto that. And then we have the calendar. I absolutely love the calendar app on the iPad, and it is the main calendar app that like I use in my life. I use it quite religiously now, to be honest. And I've categorized everything into colors. Yellow is leisure, purple is study, blue is work, brown is family stuff, and then red is like deadlines. So it's normally like when I have to upload a video or when I'm posting my banana newsletter, which you can sign up for on backpackingbananas.com. There's also a green category if I wanted to schedule in exercise, but I very rarely do that. Now that I have an online store and I am the sole person responsible for that and looking after all of the customer service, it's really important that make sure that everything is running smoothly there. So that's literally just something that I've set to go on every single day. I haven't been doing Spanish this past week just because I've been really busy with like social things, but I'm getting back on the Spanish next week. And to be honest, when it comes to my work, I really don't like to plan that far ahead because often the timing of things is very unexpected, especially when it comes to editing. Like, I don't know how long something's going to take me, but what I have found to be really useful more recently is to literally split up my work as much as I can, because before I might have just put like a massive 5-hour block which would have just said edit a video, but what I found is that that is extremely unproductive because I just look at that and then I procrastinate and I don't finish because it just seems like an unfinishable task. So something that I've been working on more recently is splitting a big task into much more manageable chunks, because then I'm constantly working towards finishing something. And what I also like about the apps thing is that if I wanted to change it to like another day day or another time, I can really easily do that just by dragging it around, and I find that so satisfying. So as you can see, I'm very much on schedule. Saturday the 25th, 11:55 film, iPad video. Here we are. Wonderful. And then I'm just going to have lunch after this. But anyway, I think that's enough of the calendars app. That's how I like to use it. And then we have Safari. We have my personal emails. No, I am not pleased with the fact that it says 5,464, but like, I just get so much spam. I'm constantly trying to unsubscribe to things, and the Gmail is my new work email address. So obviously I just try to keep that as clear as possible, and like I move things into category when I'm done with them, because I just think that's so important for work to really keep on top of that. We have the Photos app, we have the Files app, which is really cool on the iPad that it like even has this. It really kind of turns it into a computer. Then I have the Google Translate app, because obviously I'm learning Spanish at the moment, and so this is just really useful for me to have. And then my most recently used. And then moving on to the main section, I mean, most of the things up here are pretty self-explanatory. I've got a weather app, I've got maps.me and my Starling, and then this row here is kind of like my work and functional stuff. So I write my ebook on Pages. I created the backpacking budgeting tools on Excel, so that's all on there. YouTube Studio, obviously, YouTube is my main job, so it's important that I keep on top of all of that. And GoodNotes is one of the things I was most excited about with the iPad. This is where I take all of my notes. So I've categorized it into folders, general notes and ideas. This is mostly where I'm kind of making lists. And then schedules, it may not look like much is going on here. This is just where I've been making my daily task lists, and then I'll normally like delete them at the end of the day, and I'll input the information that I've made on my scribbles onto my calendar. So it's just kind of like a jotting schedules and whatnot. Zoom quizzes. So we still do like family Zoom quizzes every single week. Obviously I get a little bit excited and I draw things like medals saying that we came second. Yeah, so this kind of just brings me joy to use colors and whatnot in the family Zoom quizzes. Banana Business, this is just like my ideas in terms of like new products that I might want to create. It's basically just like ideas. YouTube, this is where I jot down like all my video ideas, and also have some video plans here, which I delete after I've actually ended up making the video. And then finally, the most decorated folder is definitely Spanish. It's categorized into the levels. So I started off on a 2.2, and I just made like all of my notes in here. That one's just one page. I note down all of the vocab that like has been mentioned that lesson down the side, and then what we're actually learning in the lesson I'll put in this main section over here. But right now I'm in level B1, so we've got loads of notes here. This is like a page that I always come back to because we're learning a lot about the subjunctive tense, and then this one goes on and on and on. It's just like examples of that tense, but it just brings me a lot of joy to make my notes nice and colourful like this. And also sometimes we get set homework, and it just really brings me joy that I'm able to like fill it in on my iPad Pro and mark it in red. Actually, what normally happens during my Spanish classes is that I lift this up and I put Google Translate on the side here, and I make it small. And then this is what my screen usually looks like. So I have my notes here, and if there's anything that I want to quickly translate, if I don't want to bother the teacher, or if there's something that I just quickly need to know, I literally have that on the side for me. And I find that that just really, really helps me out. And I love the fact that I can do the dual screen there. So that's GoodNotes. And then moving on to all of my folders. Some are much busier than others. So the first one I have is AR. I think this stands for augmented reality. And I was super excited about this when I got the iPad, and I downloaded things like IKEA Place, AR Magic, a measuring tool, iScape, which are all apps which like make the most of the AR feature of the iPad Pro. I gotta say, for me at the moment, they're definitely like novelty apps, which I used for fun when I first got it, but I haven't really touched them since. Though I am excited to use IKEA Place for real when I do end up moving into my own place and buying my own furniture and things. But for now, they just kind of sit in that folder, and I'm okay with that. Then next we have the shopping folder. I love doing my online shopping on the iPad. It's just so much more pleasing than doing it on your phone or on a desktop. I just really like scrolling through everything like on an iPad. I just find it really nice to look at and nice to do my shoppings like this. So anyway, yeah, I've got ASOS, Amazon, Urban Outfitters, Etsy. Rightmove is something that I'm on all the time, not only for myself, but we are looking at somewhere for my grandparents at the moment. And so I love just coming on Rightmove and trying to find something that they would like. I particularly like that Rightmove shows you like the floor plans of places as well. So I spend a considerable amount of time on this app. I don't have enough money for a house deposit yet, but it's still nice to look and see what's on the market. I have Airbnb, Hostelworld, Selena, as in Selena Hostels, Booking.com, Zoopla, another house searching app. We have IKEA, H&M, Moonpig, Depop, B&Q, I'm not too sure why I have B&Q, and Soho House because I am currently trying to become a Soho House member. And then we have the entertainment folder. So again, this is all pretty self-explanatory. I have the Zoom app, I have the YouTube app, Netflix, Spotify. Instagram are not quite as fun to use on the iPad because they literally just show you the phone app. So it's like quite small on the screen and you have to turn the iPad on its side to use it. Pinterest, Sonos is just like the speakers in our house. I downloaded this My Home app because I saw it as like an Instagram ad and thought it would be a good time, like just a game, but it's actually just incredibly slow and frustrating, and I can't say I've used it again since I downloaded it, but I can't bring myself to get rid of it. So anyway, that just sits there. I've got the WhatsApp app on the iPad, which is a very glitchy app, but it does still do the job. And then Quizlet and Duolingo. Quizlet is an app which I have been using just to practice my Spanish outside of my Spanish classes. It's just really a way to test yourself and learn a little bit more. I paid for like a little subscription there, but it wasn't too expensive. And then Duolingo is something that I used to use all the time. I haven't been using it so much. See, I haven't even signed into it on the iPad, but I've downloaded it just in case I want to use it at some point, which I probably will at some point. And then I think that's it for entertainment apps so far. And then we have Record and Design. So in Record, we literally have apps that I use to record things. For example, GarageBand, which is where I record my sound. I put the voice memos app in here. This one's just something to do with my microphone. And the teleprompter, which I have actually used just, I think, twice for videos. I don't know if any of you have noticed that I used a teleprompter, but if you didn't, then clearly I'm doing something right, and that just made my life so much easier. And then the Director Pad is something that I have not actually used yet, but it is an app where you're supposed to be able to control several monitors at once for one recording. I don't exactly know, but someone recommended it. Anyway. Then we have Design, which is a very much used folder. So I have Lightroom, where I edit my images, and Photoshop, which I can also edit my images. I don't use Photoshop so much, but I do have it as part of like my Lightroom subscription. So, you know, it's good to have. Canva is something I use a lot. I have a pro subscription for Canva. This is where I make all of my graphics and PDFs. If you are signed up to the newsletter, you may have a couple of my freebies. They were all made in Canva. I've got iMovie to edit videos, which is the free application, but I've actually downloaded LumaFusion, which is supposedly the best video editing app on the iPad, and this is the app that I literally plan on editing all my videos on. I haven't fully transitioned into using this solely yet because I just want to ease myself into the editing and not overwhelm myself with all the features that I'm probably quite unfamiliar with. But I just edited a video for my nana of just some like highlight shots of when we visited her in Bristol for her birthday the other day, and that was just a really nice thing to give to her. So that was just like my beginner video to practice editing on LumaFusion on, but I hope to get much better at this app and do things that are a lot more complicated in the future. And then we have my absolute all-time favorite app on the iPad, and that is Procreate, which I believe is owned by Adobe. I paid a one-off price of something like £10 for this, and every penny is absolutely worth it. So I am mainly using this app for sketches where I'm like drawing pictures of my friends. So I drew my grandparents the other day, and I drew my other grandparents the other day, and I've drawn my friends, and I always send them these photos, and I just find drawing on this thing so therapeutic. So you're not drawing freehand, you're like tracing over an image and then filling in the colors, and it just creates this really accurate cartoon. And it's just my favorite thing to do in the evening, just listening to some music, because it doesn't require much brain power, but the outcome is so satisfying. And then it's really nice to like send these images to my friends who I have drawn. Or the dog, that one's Bailey. So yeah, I'm just obsessed with doing that. I've also done things like I've drawn maps and routes, where I literally draw a map of a particular like region, and then on certain layers I make like different routes that I could potentially travel. And this is just so fun for me. Like, I'm a very visual person, so being able to kind of map out my trips and plan my trips like this is just revolutionary. I mapped out my UK road trip, which I did the other week. Vlog coming soon. This is how I made all of the Colombia routes on my realistic itineraries guide. So I've even like named the layers, what I have named the routes. And you can see them all here. Oh, it's just so satisfying. I love it. And then I have an ebook folder because I'm going to be doing all of my own illustrations for the ebook because I don't do things by halves. And then we have a backpacking bananas folder. I've now started actually making my thumbnails on Procreate because it's so enjoyable to do it on here and really, really easy as well. And it gives me so much flexibility. And I love the fact that I can literally handwrite, draw my own titles on my thumbnails. And I also designed my own logo on Procreate. So I had sketched an image of myself and then I wrote out backpacking bananas in the way that I liked. And I'm really, really pleased with how that turned out. So that's the original sketch. And then I also designed my like channel banner on the homepage of Backpacking Bananas YouTube, just with like a few different photos that I had sketched of myself. And I sketched myself here as well. I thought it was cool to like make a profile photo with like a brightly colored background. I'm really pleased with how that one turned out. So yeah, that's pretty much everything on my Procreate app. And then the rest of stuff in design isn't overly interesting. Emulsio is an app which can stabilize your footage. Compress are just apps that compress the file size of your files if you need to do that. I have the Wix app for managing bits and bobs on my website, but if I'm completely honest, I'm not the biggest fan of the Wix app. I prefer just to use Wix in an internet browser and manage it that way. Image Converter is when you need to change like the file type of your images. Adobe Scan is literally just like scanning in photos. MailChimp is something that I can actually delete because it was something that I was considering using for my email newsletter system, but then ended up not going with it. But anyway, got that. And Shutterstock, the reason I've got this in design and not shopping is because I like to find images on Shutterstock, which I then literally just sketch for fun. So yes, that's why that one is in the design section. And then the final folder that we have on this page is Google. And it is literally just all of my Google apps. So we have Google Drive, Google Sheets, Google Maps, Google Earth, Google Docs, Google Chrome, and Google Home. And honestly, I actually use all of these loads, especially Google Maps and Google Drive. If you've ever wondered how I do the maps on my videos, it all comes from Google Maps. And I will find the map that I'm looking for on here. I will take a screenshot by doing this, and then I can annotate it. Or what I might do is record the screen like this. So 3, 2, 1. Now the screen is recording, and now so if I zoom in, like this is just all a video, what I'm doing right now. And I might use that in a video as well, which I just really quite like because it really just helps explain visually where I am and like gives people a good sense and perspective of where this destination is in the world. And then the final two apps on my home screen, I just couldn't really think of what folder to put these guys in. We have the XE currency app, which is literally just a currency conversion app, which I like to use. And as you can see, I've stuck the calculator next to it just because I was doing some calculation with currencies because that is the nerd that I am. But this is what the XE currency app when it's by itself. And then finally we have Surfshark, which is my VPN app, and I have been connected to the United States for about 14 hours. And that's because I was using an online service which is not available in the UK, but it was in the US, and so that was very, very handy that that works on there. And then finally, the only thing that we have on my next page is a folder which I call Hardly Use, and I have never used any of these apps. We have like the Apple Maps. I just prefer Google Maps, so that's why I never use that. Don't even know what that is. Find My iPhone, I guess that probably is. I don't have an iPhone. Yeah, I don't think I need to go through all of these, but basically I don't use any of them. So they just stay there. So if for whatever reason I do need to use it, I can access it. But for the most part, it is just out of the way, out of my sight, not cluttering my mind. And there we go. That is a run through of all the apps on my iPad Pro. Thanks so much for watching. If you'd like to see any more videos of me with my iPad Pro, just let me know, or if you want to see any of the apps in more detail, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!